Good evening, Kenton community. My name is Sabatino Samato. I'm your superintendent, and this is your weekly connection update. And folks, tonight we're going to have a little bit of a different angle on the update. We're still going to have some of the regular things that we always have. For example, I'll give you a testing update. We'll talk about some things that are happening within Kenton. But tonight's theme is really all going to revolve around service. And we're going to have this special focus because service is really what Kenton is all about. Our Kenton community, from our families and the service that they provide to others, to our educators, our administrators, our support staff, and the service they're constantly giving to the community. And we really want to focus on a few of those things tonight and talk about a very important upcoming event. Joining me tonight are our heads of our various unions within the district and all the leadership and all the work that their groups do on a regular basis. And they're going to really bring this together for us and talk about this service that we want to look at in the upcoming weeks in Kenton. I'm joined by our head of one of our heads of our Kenton School District Administrators. Mr. Hyden couldn't be with us tonight, and Mr. King is with us from the Administrators Union. Mr. Peter Stumiller, is here from the Kenton Teachers Association, and Josh Frazier from our support staff, our KTSEA, and all the unions that represent to really deliver a very important message and tell you about a very exciting upcoming event that we have here in Kenton.
Hi, I'm Dave King, and I am representing the Kenmore Administrators Association. You may have noticed as February approaches each year that there's a curious lack of refrigerator boxes in Tonawanda. Well, it can only mean that the Kenton Sleep Out is approaching. It's always on the first Friday in February. The event is named in honor of one of its founders and my colleague, Jerry Starr, a Kenton English and drama teacher who was known for always putting others before himself. As a younger teacher in the district, I quickly became aware of the history of service in our Kenton districts. Participants sleep outside in refrigerator boxes to raise money and collect donations for those in need, and to raise awareness about the importance of serving others. In my building and in the other buildings around the district, it is our privilege to promote the Kenton Sleep Out in February and make sure all are aware.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Stumiller. I'm president of the Kenmore Teachers Association, the union representing our teachers across the district. And it's my pleasure to be here to really promote something that our folks in this district have done for 34 years. The Kenmore Educators Totally Committed, ETC, is an amalgam of staff and teachers, both retired and in service, who have dedicated a lot of their time, including a very, very cold night in February, to sleep out as a way of raising awareness for the homeless and those folks most at need in our community. And so this sleep out over the last 34 years, back 1988, has raised over $1 million in donations to local food pantries, non-for-profit organizations, as well as countless amount of food, non-perishable items, clothes, everyday items that some of our folks in our community desperately need. And this is all done by our own school community. To have teachers side by side with support staff and administrators huddled around a fire out in front of Hoover, sharing in some camaraderie, but most importantly, raising funds and vital resources for those folks in our community. So we're very proud of the fact that under this COVID crisis, even though we face a pandemic, those people in our community that have a need clearly have a need, now more so than ever. So in a much scaled back version, we're going to once again try to reach out to the community and provide that desperate support that they need. So we appreciate all the support and involvement of our administrators, our central office staff, our support staff, and our teachers across the district to make this event second to none and to carry on the tradition that Jerry Starr and Steve Ash envisioned for our community.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Josh Frazier. I'm the first vice president of the KTSEA. As many of you know, I'll be taking over the presidential duties in the near future. I'm going to just speak briefly on what some of my other colleagues have stated and the importance of, being totally committed to giving back to the community. The Kenton Sleep Out is an important part of that, and we've had many KTSEA members in the past take part or donate in any fashion that they could. I think that it's important that we demonstrate to the community, as we are the community, that the importance of giving back and helping others in what would be their time of need. The simple act of giving and serving others, regardless of how much you could give or possibly donate, will have a profound impact on the lives of so many in the community.
Thank you to all of our colleagues for joining me today. Really appreciate the support, and it's really a symbol of how we all come together as one. All of our Kenton family, and we're looking to all of our extended Kenton family, all of our families and students that are out there in Kenton. Now, folks, the sleep out obviously can't be the same way this year as it's been in years past. It's going to be a very modified sleep out, COVID procedures. We're only going to have a select few people doing the semblance of the sleep out. But the spirit of the sleep out needs to be bigger than ever before. There's never been more of a need for donation for our families, for our community in need than right now during this pandemic. And I really have to give it to Mr. Steve Ash, of course, under one of my best mentors, a father figure to me, Mr. Jerry Starr. That's what this represents. So we're really looking for those donations and anything that you can do. Now, folks, in past years, it's been monetary donations, it's been food, clothing. This year under COVID, we can only do monetary donations just to make sure that we're following COVID procedures. And those monetary donations, and folks, any bit helps. Anything. I know we're all struggling during this, but anything for the Kenton community, our district, Steve Ash, ETC, nobody gets a dime of this money. This all goes directly. The donations are going to go directly to two places: the Kenton Closet, and that's for all the families in need in Kenton, and also the Family Support Center here in Kenton. And you could see how those services really encompass all the need and trying to address as much of the need as possible. So there's a few ways to donate. First, for our faculty and staff, we're going to have point people at each of the buildings. And I just want to mention these people by name so that our staff know who they can go to. At Kenmore West, Miss Nicole Harnett. At Kenmore East, Mr. Jeff Diegelman. At Hoover Middle, Jeanette Costello. At Franklin Middle, Mary Ricotta. At Lindbergh Elementary, Mr. Tom LaRussa. At Hoover Elementary, Lisa Chivroli. At Franklin Elementary, Miss Jody Cook. And speaking of Jody, Jody is actually the daughter of Mr. Jerry Starr. Just a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Jody. At Holmes Elementary, Miss Susan Aiken. At Edison Elementary, Miss Lisa Carver. At Kenmore Middle Building, Kathy Reiser. And at the Administration Building, Teresa Crawford. So thank you very much. That's in-house here in Kenton. One way that we can take donations, faculty and staff, checks can be made payable to Kenton Schools-ETC. So that's one way to do it. So the sleep out is actually, that's how I'm going to talk about the community donation part here. The sleep out is actually going to take place on Friday, February 5th. Now, at the sleep out, which the sleep out will be held right in the parking lot with only a select few people right here at the administration building, we'll have a donation box here on that evening for anybody who wants to stop by. You could stop by for a quick donation. It's not obviously a hangout event this year, but I'll tell you, it's still going to have a tremendous impact. Or you could donate via U.S. mail to Kenton School Sleep Out, care of Kenmore West School, 33 Highland Parkway, Buffalo, New York. You can also, folks, you can go, for those who like to pay online, if you go right to our website, ktufsd.org/sleepout, all the information and the links for donating for the GoFundMe page that also exists for this will be right on that page. So there's a lot of different ways to donate, and we really need all the help that we can get. I told you a limited number of people will be sleeping out this year. I am going to join those limited number of people, and that signifies, and I want it to be clear, all the ways our Kenton families, teachers, administrators, and support staff constantly and consistently give to each other. That's minimally what I can do in doing my part. So I would really appreciate all of us, Mr. Steve Ash, all of us that are going to be there really would appreciate, and all of us here in Kenton would really appreciate anything that anybody can do to donate to this great cause. Service to others is the way that we have to continue to move forward in Kenton. So folks, on to our next topic of service, and if you don't mind, I'm going to take my mask off. Everybody says like I look like a giant Muppet in that mask. So now that our guests are gone, I'm going to talk to you without the mask for the rest of the update. And the level of service in this next piece, it really signifies what not only our families can accomplish, because let there be no mistake, this next piece is a direct result of families working with our youth, our teachers working with our youth, everybody, a whole community working with our youth. A perfect example is 16-year-old Anthony Shabrazi. So Anthony, Anthony's a fun, young teenager that I just got to know on the phone the other day, but there was a great article written about Anthony in a local newspaper recently. And let me just tell you about this story. And we know, folks, with our adolescents, Anthony will be the first to tell you, so will his friends. We remember growing up. We don't always do everything right. Sometimes we don't even make the correct choices. But growing up in Kenton, this is what happens. When our families work with kids, when our teachers work with kids, we're developing our youth and that core and that character. And Anthony is the perfect example. Anthony recently, he was having a regular day. He's running late for a haircut. He's with his dad in the car. His dad stops at the ATM because Anthony needed to get some money for the haircut. Still running late. Anthony walks up and sees a wallet sitting there. And during this holiday season, Anthony's first thing that he did was he brought the wallet to his dad and said, "Dad, we can't keep this wallet. We got to make sure that, and his dad, of course, the guy that he is, agreed with Anthony, impressed with Anthony's thought process. But they kind of go about their day that Anthony's going to go for the haircut. They're going to turn the wallet into the police station, and hopefully somebody will claim it because there was a substantial amount of money in the wallet. So Anthony, needless to say, misses his haircut appointment. He's too late for it. He comes out from his haircut, goes over to the ATM. He sees a gentleman walking around, kind of looking, seems like he's looking for something. And Anthony asks him, "Sir, did you lose your wallet?" The gentleman tells him, "Yes, actually I did." Anthony calls his dad, asks his dad to come back, bring the wallet. He gives the wallet to the guy, and the guy is so overwhelmed with just the fact that one of our young Kenton youth would be so honest. And he's trying to give Anthony a reward. Anthony's trying to move away from him. You could see this all in the article. And the gentleman throws money, he literally throws money at Anthony. "Here you go, you really deserve this." Anthony then said, I don't want to take this. I'm going to donate some gift cards to those who are more in need. And working with his dad, that's exactly what they did next. So if this story, you would think it couldn't get any better. So I called Anthony on the phone, and I wanted to talk to this young man. And look at Anthony talking to his dad, talking to Anthony. They'll be the first to tell you. Anthony will will go through experiences like every other adolescent. He'll go through his ups, he'll go through his downs, make mistakes, do some good things. But here's what struck me about Anthony's character. I asked Anthony, so what made you do this? And Anthony said exactly like he said in that article. You know, if I had lost my wallet, I would hope that somebody would return it to me. And then he said something further. He said he remembered being in middle school and learning that he should always do to others what he'd want done to himself. Folks, if that's not about service in our community and our families, it took, and absolutely, I'm sure that Anthony will admit this, it took Anthony's family always working with Anthony. It took Anthony's school and teachers always working with Anthony. And then it took Anthony to really reflect and become that young man that he's becoming. And sure, ups and downs, but becoming the young man that he's becoming. And that's the Kenton way. So it really is just an excellent story of somebody persevering and becoming just a tremendous young man, thinking of service to others. Anthony, we congratulate you, and just nice job, kiddo. Really nice job. And it brings me to our final section this week of service, and it's about our testing. You know, in order to, folks, we're still in this pandemic. We're still under the orange zone regulations. We know we have to do 5% testing a week, and this is what our community, our families, our teachers do. They come together to make sure that we're accomplishing the goal so that we can keep schools open. From our families signing up and consenting, thank you so much to those families that have done that all along. To our staff, our nurses, our teachers doing also being tested and volunteering, our nurses doing the testing. It is about service to the entire greater community as a whole. Speaking of those numbers, every week we test somewhere between 350 and 400 people, staff and students. This past week we tested 379 students and staff, and we had 0 positives, and that's a great number. It is indicative that people are being safer, making sure, and let there be no mistake. When people feel like they're sick or they shouldn't come to school, they're not coming to school. And we have to continue doing that. We have to continue doing the things that mitigate. That's a service to each other. And that's what everybody's been doing here in Kenton. Families, thank you so much for everything you've done. And in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I told you earlier about, and our colleagues told you earlier about this great level of service to give back to the community. No matter what we go through together, as long as we keep that mindset that we'll figure it out together. We give to each other. It's always better to give than it is to receive. Our kids are learning that in Kenton. We want to focus on that. Sure, we have all the academics. We have all the stressors of being students, but that's the main message. We can't thank you enough for just being Kenton. Together, we are Kenton proud. We are Kenton strong, and we will continue moving our community, Kenton, forward. Thank you very much. Go Bills. Huge weekend. Go Bills. And let's have a great weekend together.